This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms for women entrepreneurs to be seen and heard. This platform is for women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. These are the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they want to build for themselves and their families. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. We have the brilliant Stephanie Briggs with us from La Di Da Interiors. I love that name. I love saying it. Steph, good morning, and introduce yourself.
Hi, Trudy. Thank you for having me today. My name's Steph Briggs. I run La Di Da Interiors and Gifts, which is an interiors and gift shop. We're based in Andover in Hampshire, but our website obviously is worldwide. So that's what I do.
Brilliant. And when I was reading your chapter, what I saw was the myriad of past jobs that you'd had. What do you think that those jobs have taught you for your own business?
Wow, what a question. They've taught me, they've brought me to where I am today, really. I've had, as you'll find out in the chapter, I've had 101 different jobs doing various different things at different levels, some more successfully than others. I've been fired before for being probably a little too vocal with my opinions. And I've also probably sat back a little bit before probably learning on from that and sort of watched and learnt and absorbed from different people at different levels. I think you can always take something from every situation. And I think people at work are often very different to how they are externally. I find people watching probably the biggest fascination, if you like. And I think if you learn to people watch well, you can apply that to so many different things throughout your business.
From all the jobs you've had, which one do you think has set you up the best for your business now?
Probably the last one, I have to say, because it got to the point where I knew I wanted to do something for myself. And I'd known that for quite a few years, but hadn't had the confidence to actually just go and do it due to, mortgage payments and all that sort of everyday stuff that kind of tends to get in the way a little bit. So it's probably the last one where I actually thought, you know what, I was meeting a lot of small business owners in that role. And I kind of worked out pretty quickly that most of them are winging it most of the time. And that's okay.
And that was a marketing role, was it?
No, it was more of a business consultation role.
Okay. Amazing. When in the chapter you talked about your work ethic of if it's going to be, it's up to me. And when I read that, that really hit home, because that's one of those things that any entrepreneur can take and think, this could change everything that I approach. But do you think that it allowed you to do things differently in deciding, or how did you decide that that was your work ethic?
I think it came very early on in my career from a sort of sales-based role where, although you work within a sales team as such, you're very insular. And actually, those nice colleagues that you work with will often pinch your deal or your sale, given half chance. And also at the end of the month or the quarter or the year, whatever it is, when it's time to sit down with the boss and discuss those targets, it's always very much all about you, and if you haven't reached them, then it's on your shoulders, which can feel quite intimidating. And I think for a few years I was kind of stuck in that sort of real heavy weight of, oh god, it's all down to me. But actually it's quite liberating at the same time, because if it's going to happen, it's me that's going to do it. So that actually no one else can stand in my way at the same time. So if it's going to happen, I'm going to do it, and kind of that is the end of it. You find a way.
And that's what you've done with your business now?
I started it very much, I hadn't worked in retail for years. I'd never run a small business of this type before. I had the confidence that actually it was all going to be okay, because whatever happened, I would cope with it. And I think it's getting to that point in your life where, for me, it was getting to that point in my life where I had enough confidence to go, you know what, it's all going to be okay. No one's going to die. It's going to be all right.
It does get to that though, doesn't it? How many people can this affect? Actually, it affects what I do with my business at my time.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to that, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So actually, if I want to be self-employed and want to be my own boss, there's only one person that can do that.
Mm. And going from the title of your chapter is from corporate to creative, it's quite the leap in how you're doing things, but in the way that you've probably thought through your life, you've always been doing that in thinking creatively in the ways that you've approached each job.
Yeah, I mean, I was always a bit of the outsider in lots of ways, particularly with the sort of more corporate roles that I did in the sort of business development side of things, because although I'm reasonably good at stacking a deal and putting figures together, I would always be quite creative in how I got to that. so so yeah, I've always used an element of my creativity in that. And again, in the people skills, I've always believed that actually it's how you speak to people and how you communicate that is actually the really key role. And it doesn't matter whether you're an accountant or a salesperson or an entrepreneur or whatever other label, any human being, basically, just be human. It's all about communication.
Mm. I think one of the brilliant things in your chapter, which we won't give away now, but there's a brilliant list of how you became your own boss and how you managed to realize the things that you needed to be able to function as a small business. And you've laid those out in the chapter, and it absolutely lays out for people, if you've got these things set up, then like your own community that you can rely on and support networks, and how you've done that. I think that's a really important part of realizing that working for yourself doesn't mean that you are by yourself. Absolutely. But you can be your own boss at the same time. Yeah, I love that. So that's in the chapter. Over the years of owning what's a bricks and mortar shop, what have you learned?
Wow, I don't think we've got enough time for that, truly. Yeah, what have I learned? I mean, there's the sort of business basics of sort of, cash flow, and I've always had it drummed into my head from accountants over the years. Cash is king, cash is king, cash is king. It's, there's the number one thing that kills any business is lack of cash. So trying to keep a little bit back for that rainy day, at all times, which I haven't always done, but is a good thing. But I think one of the major things I've learned is to look forward a little bit more, because again, historically with the sales role, it was always sort of the next 3 months. It's all about the next 3 months or the next quarter, or the end of year. Whereas actually now, I plan sort of a year to 2 years in advance at least. I know I should be doing 5, but I'm working on that. But yeah, it's about sort of seeing forward a little bit more, and seeing where you want to take things. But also, as a retailer, things like Christmas, for example. Christmas is a big quarter for us, but yeah, I actually do my ordering for next Christmas in the February. So I have, from Christmas Eve we shut down and we have a couple of weeks off, and then I have a sale to get rid of any last minute bits that I've got left over, and then I'm back into what am I doing for next Christmas. And then after that, a sort of March time, I don't think about Christmas until about now, and sort of August, September time, then it's right. Okay, let's attack it now. So yeah, it's more about, I guess, being a little bit long-term strategic, which it sounds a bit odd for running a little shop, I suppose, but.
Yeah, but you've also very brilliantly built an online presence and done very well in getting your name out there and the website out there, and having online orders and international online orders, which for a small shop you wouldn't expect or think that you'd be able to do that, but you have done it very successfully.
Thank you. Yeah. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. We've always kind of had a bit of a joke internally that we're small but mighty. We've always been one of the smallest shops on the high street, but we always packed it to the rafters, literally. With stock, and as my confidence grew and the sort of turnover grew quicker and quicker, we literally sort of jammed it in. But yeah, there was always the plan to actually. I never wanted a second shop, because second shop it's you're putting so much extra stock out there. You're putting so actually my online shop was my second baby, if you like. So my website became my second store, and that's the way I kind of look at it. Is that I do actually have 2 shops. I have a physical one, and then I have my online one. And yeah, I think the two do go hand in glove. But often some of our local customers that have shopped with us for 5-10 years are still quite surprised that we send things off to the States, and New Zealand was one of the ones last year. I sent I think it was 6 Land Rover Christmas decorations randomly. We do send all over the world, which is really exciting. And like I say, we're small but mighty. We still have great plans to grow even further.
I think if every small business could learn that, we will feel so small and like it's just us, but we're mighty. And it's about that mindset of there's a lot out there that can be done if we have the right mindset to go and do it. And you are grabbing that. I love it.
Thank you. I think one of the main things I learned from particularly working for larger corporations was the fact it was like turning a cruise liner. You know, you had to go to the board to ask for permission to spend this budget, or, you know, even if it was just an idea that you could implement fairly quickly, you always had to get permission, which always drove me insane. But actually, when it's your own ship and you're running, you're in a little dinghy or yacht, maybe, you can literally just go, right, okay, that's not working. Let's do that instead. And, you know, it's literally so nice and refreshing to be able to do that quick change and just sort of set your sail, if you like.
Okay, so from all of that, what is one of the best lessons that you would tell another entrepreneur that you've learned over the years?
Best lesson? Kind of big questions today. I think it's having your support network. Mm-hmm. Now, I say this as someone that's, I would say, fairly insular as a person. I don't have a massive group of friends that I, rely on. I don't have a best friend forever other than my husband. But having people there that you can rely on to be completely honest with you. And it might be someone that you've met a few times. It might be someone that's a business coach that you employ. It might be, a supplier that you can, I had one of my suppliers in yesterday who I had a really honest conversation with about how retail's going, what's happening out there, and how she's found it in the last year or so, because obviously it's unprecedented times, and I know that I'm going to get this sort of cold hard reality from her as to how things are, and I think sometimes it's really important to have that external set of eyes, if you like, giving you that feedback.
Yeah, I think in that it's that wonderful thing of when you start your own business, when you have your own business, that some people fall away because they just can't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it, because it all seems very crazy. But at the same time, when you find those people that you can bounce ideas off and have real conversations about your business, their business, and be able to express what's really going on, it is that support network is very important when you're working for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's your favorite piece of software for your business?
My favorite piece of software, I have to say, one of the things I was very keen to do when I first started out was if I knew that if I wasn't very good at something, I'd outsource it. Now, being that I started with a small loan and no cash, that sounds quite bonkers, because it immediately outsource. But yeah, I find doing bookkeeping and accounts really boring. I mean, it's like for me, it's just not interesting in any way, shape, or form. So the major thing that I absolutely love, which my accountant introduced me to, is Xero. So you literally just photograph a receipt and it goes off and does whatever it does. Yeah. I have no idea. But that to me is a lifesaver, because it makes it so much quicker, easier, and I don't have to worry about flappy bits of paper.
Yeah, that's the first piece of software that I got when I started my business 11 years ago, was Xero, because I just thought, this is what I'm not good at, and I want to be able to do the right things at the very early stages. So yeah, I love hearing about pieces of software that work for small businesses. So that's brilliant. Well, I am really excited to get your chapter out in Shine On You Crazy Daisy book that will be out very soon. And I really appreciate you being a part of the whole process. Thanks, Steph.
Thank you, Trudy.
Thank you so much for watching the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. If you've liked what you've seen today, then please make sure that you click the subscribe button to this channel to see more inspiration and motivation as more of these stories keep coming out. And if you want even more, click on the link below this video and go and have a look at the series of books, Shine On You Crazy Daisy, and get even more inspiration and motivation for you and your business.